most popular bars in LA is called the Bungalow. I don't know if you've been. They don't play music, and it's full of like white tech dudes, and that's fine. And then the most popular other spots are entirely different. So to me, if my neighbor's playing some music, I'm like, hell yeah, they're out here getting it.
As a white person, I'm writing down, bungalow sounds fun. Must look that up on Yelp. Hello and welcome to Is This Good? The show where we boldly, conclusively, and scientifically decide what things in this big wide world are good. I'm Matt Austin, and with me as always is production powerhouse Jason Doyle.
Hello.
Hi JD, thanks for coming. And today's guest is a professional basketball player, an OG blogger, a fine artist, a newspaper columnist, a podcaster, a clothing impresario, and an improv comedian. I swear I didn't make any of those up. He's also a published author with the recently released memoir, Different Dude, which JD's holding up right now, a collection of funny and candid stories about his life on and off the court. Basketball Reference says he leads Blake Griffin in minutes of UCB stage time. Please welcome Rod Benson. Rod, welcome to Is This Good?
I think you did make up the word impresario or whatever that was. Everything else sounded pretty legit.
Okay. I don't really know what an impresario is. It's like a mogul, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I know you're not doing the Boom Though clothing anymore.
No. Clothing is a nightmare. I don't recommend to anybody.
Okay, you say that, but I did see in your merch store a sweater, a hoodie that said crying counts as cardio.
Well, that's different. That's just one little like boom boom, like a little boom boom. Having a whole line and trying to bring it all to Vegas and do all that stuff, that's just how you get your ideas stolen and your heart broken.
Why do I feel like you have a story of your things getting stolen and your feelings getting hurt in every endeavor that you've done? You've picked ones where those things tend to happen.
I mean, if you think most people, their stories are one of those two things. Something was stolen or their heart was broken, and a lot of times it's both.
Well, that brings us to the book. First of all, congrats.
Thank you.
So in the intro, you say that you didn't want to write a memoir, but obviously it is, in the sense, I guess, that you didn't want to tell a story chronologically, a biography, but it is obviously a collection of memories. And I was curious if you were, when you sat down to write it, surprised by what you remembered, because I find that I tend to remember the dumbest things about my life that wouldn't necessarily be helpful in telling interesting stories, and maybe not the quote-unquote important things. So I'm curious how that went for you when you sat down to write.
Yeah, I think it's I'm someone who's like really good with remembering details also. It wasn't so much remembering like blowing out a whole world of like one day. It's like how many total stories could I remember? That's where it got difficult. When I had my sample done, I had like 12 stories, and I was like, oh man, like how many more can I push this? Like 5, 6? And the book has 118. So, it was really more like remembering like close to like 500 different events, and then, whittling that down to stories that, I thought were tellable, and then ones that fit the emotional narrative of the book. Was a way harder journey. That's how you do some self-therapy right there. Remember all the things you think you forgot.
I did have a question about that, because when you were on No Dunks with Skeets, you mentioned that you basically had to try to find a way to make yourself remember certain things, and you said you had a trick to doing it. And I was listening, and I was saying, could you tell us what the trick is, please? So, could you tell us what the trick is?
There was a few different tricks. I realized that there's always, the way you remember anything. I mean, I didn't read this in a book. This is my hypothesis. The way you remember anything is because you have some emotional attachment to that thing. It's why, like, some of your deepest, longest ago memories are either really happy or really sad. Very rarely neutral. And so I try to just find other things that might feed me emotion and try to remember things around that. So, like, for example, I was like, okay, where was I when Obama was elected? Okay, I was here. In fact, oh, dang, he went to Iowa, didn't we? Oh, yeah, I was in Iowa. Like, okay, in 2002, what happened? Okay, well, the World Trade Center happened. Oh, yeah, boom, boom, boom. And there's all these memories that you can blow out off of a single memory. And again, that's where it gets frightening, because there's stuff you forgot on purpose.
Right. And did you remember any of those things that you were like, shit, I thought that was buried deep enough?
I think it's more like Oh, not oh shit, that was buried deep enough, but like, oh shit, that's been there the whole time. Like, I need to figure that out.
You often have to talk about, you talk about the professional basketball stuff a lot, but let's just dispense with that here. I mean, yes, he played professional basketball. Yes, he's tall. Yes, he could take you one-on-one. No, he's not going to tell you which NBA players he thinks are the worst people, unless he wants to. I'll hold for 3 seconds. Okay, he's not doing it. He said
I'll give you initials, DJ. If you can figure out the right DJ, that guy sucks.
God, you're speaking to the wrong people.
I know. Just leave it in the air. Someone's going to come up with a lot of DJs, and they're all going to be wrong.
Okay, and we're not talking DJ Augustine.
We are not. That would have been I said the initials, not the full first name, sir. Come on, I'm not going to make it that easy.
Okay, anyway, so he's good at basketball. Okay. What I wanted to know was, because you transitioned into, as I said in the intro, so many different art forms, one of them being comedy, specifically improv comedy. I think I know the answer to this question, but were you the funny guy on the team?
No, kind of. Like, if we were at like a bar, I'm the funny guy at the bar. If we're at the team, like not really, because it's a whole different space. In fact, I would say that there's like the whole idea of like a barbershop, right? Like a comedian goes into a barbershop, he's probably not the funniest dude. It's the dude who understands the shop the best. Right. And it's a different dynamic. And on those teams, man, like some of those dudes, it doesn't translate to TV at all. But in the locker room, you'll be like, bro, what did you just say? Like, you just ethered the whole country of France, and I don't get why. We're not even there right now. Good for you, sir.
Oh, wow. So DJ was doing a big Freedom Fries chunk?
DJ was not funny. DJ is not a funny man.
DJ's no DJs are, let's be honest. DJs in general are annoying people, I would say. Like, turntablists.
Wow, that's
I would say like if you go to the right party, turntablists are fine. I do find Diplo on the back of a Jeep escaping Burning Man to be like a little annoying.
Yeah.
What kind of DJ what is happening to DJs?
Steve Aoki hits you in the face with a cake. You tend to not think much of DJs. But I guess like what I'm wondering is, in the locker room, does a lot of the humor come from making fun of people, like people on the team or other people like in the organization 100%. Or the league? Right.
100%.
So that doesn't. So is that like? Do you know the term like athlete funny? Like people often say like, oh yeah, he's I don't know. I don't want to pick anyone to be mean, but like people are always saying like, oh, this NBA player is so funny, and then other people are like, yeah, but is he funny, or is he like athlete?
Who? Say the name. I want to know. This isn't in a DJ situation. Who are the people talking about?
I mean, I guess I more said that because I couldn't think of a name. I mean, I don't know. I guess Blake Griffin.
Whoa, we were about to say the same name. I was about to give you a name, and you said the same name back to me. Okay, great. Perfect. And the reason why I was going to pick that name is I don't know if I can curse on here. I don't know.
Yeah, of course, please do.
I don't know shit about him as a comedian. I've never really seen him do stand-up. What I know is that I'm now around a lot of those people and not in a locker room. So we were at a 4th of July party a few years back, and Blake Griffin just shows up at random. And we were both on the Clippers summer league team, like his rookie year before he ever played. Like he sat out a year, then there was that year He was just on the summer league. And I remember him being like, he's like the life of the party. And at this party he was too, because he's Blake Griffin, he's a celebrity. But he like cornered me and my improv teammates, and he's like, I'm telling you, it's not improv. You gotta do stand-up. You gotta like just bare your soul, man. You gotta. And I just remember thinking like, come on, man. Like I've seen like clips. Like it's not, I haven't seen the whole thing, so I can't say, but I just remember being like I'm not mad at you, Blake, but you're talking to people who actually like do this like multiple times a week now, and I don't see you as a funny guy anymore. I see you as someone with funny potential.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, so that's an example. Do you find Charles Barkley funny?
I think Charles Barkley is the same. I think there's a reason why when they're ever on like some scripted commercial, you're like, all right, Charles. They're like, oh, Dutch Capital One. It's like, you're not.
Hold on.
You got one
Right.
speed.
No, I have to interrupt you because Spike Lee is always doing something crazy, and then Samuel L. comes in. He's wearing a Kangol hat. Charles doesn't know what to say.
When they're on, they can carry it. When it's just Charles, like, what's in your wallet? I'm like, it's just not funny. If you're laughing at those commercials, you tell me. I just don't think they're funny.
How did you get into improv then? Like, did you take classes or what? I know you're on a team called Lemon Pepper Wet. Shout out to Lou Williams, I guess. How did you get on that team?
It was super random. Like the day I retired, I flew back from Korea to LA, and I met up with a buddy of mine who had taken me to an improv show years before, and I remember like being like, they wrote that, bro. There's no way people just put that together that day. Mm-hmm. So that night we're drinking, and I hadn't seen him like basically since then. And he was like, man, I bet you won't do improv. I'm like, I don't believe that's real still. Like, I just don't believe you. He's like, well, then sign up and find out. And we signed up like that night, just like on a dare. I was just going to prove to him how like fake it was. And 6 years later, like on stage, like multiple days a month. So that's how things go sometimes.
So you put improv into the same category as like the guy that can bend spoons with his mind.
What do you go further? Elaborate.
There's got to be a trick behind it, right? Like he's not literally bending a spoon with his mind. There's no way they're actually making that up.
I guess there's some truth to that. Like we make up every single detail, and I guess when it's done well and you see it for the first time, I get like to me, I was just like, nah, I was a skeptic. Like it just can't be, and that's why it's weird when Blake Griffin like corners me in a party in the Hollywood Hills next to the pool and is like, you gotta do stand-up, man. You just gotta do it. I'm like, it's also weird because we're the same height. So it's like he's used to talking down to people. I'm like, you're talking down to my like chin, bro. Like, I get it. Like, I know what the game is.
I also like that Blake Griffin's become Mark Maron, basically. Like, Rod, who are you guys? You like Pryor? Okay, here we go. But before we get into it, in your book you have a story, and at the end of that story you say, in caps, you say, this might be the single greatest moment of my life. It was a night in Beijing. As a teaser for the book, can you tell us what happened on that night?
I can tell you what happened on that night. I was in Beijing. I was with the Pacers for training camp. And the reason why I chose them even because they were going to Asia so we could improve my Asian stock. So we're in Beijing, and I didn't play in Taiwan, so I was like, when you don't play, you're like, I might as well go out. But everyone goes out anyway, so it's like just my own jiu-jitsu. And so I'm just waiting in the lobby to see if someone's trying to do anything. And TJ Ford comes down, and I'm like, he had told me to wait for him there. And he's like, follow me. And we get into a limo with like Carmelo Anthony, J.R. Smith, Ronaldo Balkman, I want to say. Like, our guy, like, it's weird because I was so like just interested in like them that I don't even remember all the Pacers except for Granger and TJ Ford specifically, but it was like 5 of each of us. So we're in this limo and we go to a party for Melo. It's like a Jordan party in Beijing. And right away, there's like all these models. And I guess I didn't predict that hot people would be in Beijing. Like, not that like there wouldn't be hot Asians, but these were like world-class models. I was like, oh, dang, like this, it goes down. Thank you, Melo. So I'm chopping it up with them thinking I'm about to like marry up in a 2-for-1 situation, and Taraji P. Henson walks over and just like shifts the whole energy. So we're all focused on her now, and she's telling us this story about
why is she there?
She's telling us the story that she's there to film the Karate Kid, like the next Karate Kid with Jaden Smith,
yeah,
and Jackie Chan, and she's been like learning Mandarin, all this stuff. She like starts speaking Mandarin. It was crazy, like. So she's like, do you guys want to meet Jackie? And I'm not in the steering wheel here at all. So everyone's like, yes. And I'm also like, yes. So I grab the 2 models. I'm like, let's go. We got to meet Jackie. Like, it's going to be a special night. We're getting like all these different taxis because we have so many people and the limo's not there. And the first thing we do when Taraji speaks to all the taxi drivers to let them know where we're going. We make a left and the one with the models goes right. And I'm like, no, what happened? Like Taraji gave him the wrong address. Baller shit. We get there. She's like, fuck those bitches. And I was like, oh, damn. Like, or just go with the flow, man. Just trust the process. Like, you don't know what you're walking into. We go to another Ritz-Carlton. We're staying at one. I guess there's 2. And we go down to like B13, like all the way down. And there's this long hallway. And you can just hear like wailing. Like, ah! Like it sounds like somebody's like crying or something. And we get to the end of the hallway and turn the corner, and it's Jackie Chan and like 40 Asian women, just I assume Chinese women, just singing. Like it's just him singing, and they're like kind of like hyping him up. And we just come in and join the party, and they're all smoking cigars, and I've never smoked one. So like he's like, "Why aren't you smoking a cigar?" And I'm like, Yeah, nicotine, or I make up something. And he's like, no, I'll teach you. Like Chris Tucker taught me how to smoke a cigar. I represent my hood. He taught me that. Or something like that. I'm like, oh, snap. And then I took a picture with Jackie Chan on the basement floor of this thing. And I was like 22 at the time, or 23, and I was like, I don't think it gets better than this. This is the greatest day of my life, dog.
Yeah, it's pretty good, man.
I love the concept that like everything Chris Tucker taught to Jackie Chan in Rush Hour, like Jackie Chan took as real advice. Like, well, this is how Chris told me how to represent my hood. He also told me never touch a black man's radio. So, I'm doing.
That's improv. That's A to C. Blake doesn't know that yet. I want him to know. I want him to learn those techniques. If this is true, what else is true?
Hey, LeBron just came out on his new podcast with JJ Redick and said he doesn't believe in 2-for-1 situations in basketball. But so it's good to see that with those models, you did believe in a 2-for-1.
Listen, I don't believe in LeBron's podcast. And although I'm a big fan of him, he believes in a 2-for-1. I've seen him attempt it like 9,000 times. Like, don't put yourself in he's got this like wooden background. Like, oops, did we slip into a Home Depot? Like, there's billionaires afoot. Stop trying to make this relatable. It's too late, dog. It's too late.
Look, it's a classic behind the scenes backstage view, like in front of the stage with the curtains, that's too formal. We're just behind chopping it up, drinking some probably how much do you think that wine cost, Rod?
Listen, it's probably like $3 wine that they paid him $3 million to drink. I'm like, make it authentic. Like, film on an iPhone camera then. Like, if you're going to go in, remove don't film this on Reds. Sir, this is there's nowhere I've ever been that has that high quality of production and then just a wood background. This is all. It's all. Yeah, I just don't like fair. It. Just say it's unrelatable. Like the king speaks and give us decrees. Don't try to be like I'm just like y'all, dog. Like you haven't been in a long time, King.
Well, speaking of NBA wine products, JD, it's a real sore spot for him whenever we bring up NBA wine products because we used to work with Isaiah Thomas, the elder, and. He has his own champagne line, and it's called Sherlin. And he promised everyone, specifically JD. He looked at JD and said, "Do you like champagne?" JD said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm gonna get you a bottle." And then 5 years passed. He never gave him the bottle. So
wow,
been holding on to that, Rod. I can't let it go.
Did you try to buy one just to find out
never.
If the hype was ever okay? You should never tasted this champagne. Isaiah Thomas champagne has never touched your lips.
Never.
Has Channing Frye wine touched your lips? Has Chosen Family reached your...
Channing Frye, I've tried his wine, yes, of course.
How is it? How is it?
It's not bad. It's not bad. I like it.
Is he a better winemaker than Blake Griffin is a comedian?
Great question. I would say yes.
Oh, really? And he's crushing the grapes. He's stepping on him. He's stepping on him.
Okay, listen to the stepping on grapes in stand-up is like doing 7 mics a week over 4 days. And getting booed off of this stage and this person not booking you and all there's a reason Cat Williams had to go on this for 3 hours. If you just show up and think you're funny, you're probably not.
Okay, well, you know what? To back end it, at the end, I am going to ask you a question about NBA and improv, but we're going to get there. But some quick housekeeping. If you'd like to support the show, go to patreon.com/isthisgood. There's a Patreon-only episode coming out this week. So now would be a great time to join up or use the free trial. And as I always say, forget that you signed up for a free trial. Send topics for future shows to isthisgoodpod@gmail.com and subscribe on YouTube. So Rod, the premise of the show, it's simple. I'm going to give you a topic. You tell me if it's good. We'll discuss it. We'll figure out an answer. Here we go. First topic, Seba C writes in to ask, confronting noisy neighbors. Is this good? So he writes in, "Hi guys, my neighbors came around one summer day to say that I wasn't able to play basketball in the backyard past 8 p.m. Take note, this was in the summer when sunset is 11:30 p.m. So 8 p.m. is really just the afternoon. I don't know where this man is that sunset is 11:30 p.m. He must be balling in Iceland. But
Arctic
anyway,
Vancouver, Canada, maybe. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really late sunsets. Really late sunsets.
Is it good to make noise complaints against neighbors? Before we get into the question, since you're a professional basketball player, Rod, are you willing to admit that the sound of a basketball bouncing is one of the most annoying sounds in the world?
Listen, I think it is. As someone who, I do a lot of stuff with the basketball in my studio, and there's someone beneath me. I try to really limit that time because I don't want to be annoying to someone living directly below me with the basketball. So yeah, I guess it's pretty annoying if you're not trying to hear it.
So you mean all the times that I've been living in apartments going, what the fuck is that guy upstairs doing? Dribbling a basketball or something? You're actually doing it.
It's probably a lot of people. In fact, it's other people who come here and see I have a basketball or like multiple, and they just start like, so what you talking about, Rod? I'm like, please don't. What are you dribbling? We're not. We're leaving.
The Harlem Globetrotters song comes on. People are spinning it on their fingers. You know, I say this because JD and I, we produced a basketball show at NBA TV, and one of our hosts, Lee, as we were like checking mics and about to start the show, we had sort of like a parquet floor in the studio, and he would pick up a basketball that was on set, because as we know, you cannot have a basketball show without a fucking basketball in the background. And he would dribble it, and the sound of the basketball coming through all the microphones
brutal
was enough to make you go insane. So I just wanted to get your take as a professional basketball player on that. But a weird thing, because this person asked the question, confronting noisy neighbors, and really this was him being confronted for being the noisy neighbor. But I'm more curious, have you been in a situation where you've had to do the door knock and say, could you keep it down?
I didn't expect that turn. I've only ever had to do it when someone's doing like construction-y type work.
Otherwise, like when they're building the LeBron James podcast set?
Yeah, it kind of exactly. Whatever work went into that is the exact noise I don't want to hear, because it's fake. It's not real. Like when someone's actually doing something constructive, it's like click, click. They're like, they know how to nail stuff. Whatever it took to build that, it's like bonk, 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 bonk. Stop. Something fell. Bonk. I hate that sound.
Okay, but that's like not an unreasonable complaint, right? Because like I think everyone would say you were in the right if someone is doing heavy construction at 11 p.m. at night next to you. But like you've never been. I mean, you travel a lot for, you know, when you play basketball. What about in hotel rooms? You're trying to get to sleep before a big game.
I've never complained about music or sex, so hotels are pretty good, pretty chill for me.
Okay,
and it's because like I also think it's like different sensibilities. I think more broker people or blacker people tend to have louder music playing. Like one of the most popular bars in LA is called the Bungalow. I don't know if you've been. They don't play music, and it's full of like white tech dudes, and that's fine. And then the most popular other spots are entirely different. So to me, if my neighbor's playing some music, I'm like, hell yeah, they're out here getting it. And in reverse, if I'm doing it, I bet someone's like, oh, this, there goes the neighborhood. There's brothers in the building. Jesus.
As a white person, I'm writing down, bungalow sounds fun. Must look that up on Yelp. I love when I can hear everyone perfectly when they're whispering to me. So, and then what about the reverse then? You've never had anyone knock on your door and ask you to keep it down?
Many times. Many times. I'll say like, so when I first got when I used to be a rich guy, I bought a penthouse loft in Hollywood. And that first summer, man, I moved in on July 14th and I had to go to Korea again on August 15th. That 30 days, I must have got knocked. The problem was we would party super hard and then I would just fall asleep. So it's not like I would even be up late, like crazy late. It's like, it'd be like 11, but I've been day drinking all day. It's because I don't have shit to do. And I fall asleep with like the music on max and I'm just dead. And there's people just banging on my door like, what are you doing? I can't hear them at all.
Well, that is a move that has happened to me before, like at a hotel when, you know, you're younger, you're piling like 6 people into one hotel room, people are sleeping on the floor, and you're being loud at night. Now, no one complains that night. But then, 6 a.m., bang, bang, bang on the door. You're like, what the fuck's happening? You groggily get up, and no one's there. Why? Because the people that had to wake up early are like, now we're going to fuck with them.
Yeah.
But I guess if you're passed out from day drinking, then that's not as much of a concern because you could sleep through it. What year were you a rich guy?
I was a rich guy from approximately 2012 to 2014. I would call my rich guy years.
Uh-huh. And what do you miss most about rich guy years?
Probably the only thing I miss, is that there is this like, you really just feel like, what am I going to do today? And you just like go do it. there's this to tell a rich guy kind of like baller story, I guess, like the richest guy moment I ever had probably. And again, I wasn't like spending like all this money like what I would call like an actual rich person, but this I was talking to this playmate, and she kept flaking on me, which is fine. That's people flake. And so finally we had this date set for like whatever Wednesday at 8 p.m. And then she's like, oh, I'm still on set. I can't come. Can we do like 9? And kept getting pushed back. So now it's like midnight. And I don't know if she sent this text thinking like, he's not going to come up with anything. She's like, well, I finally got upset. I'm still interested. Do you want to do something? I'm like, yeah, bet. So I called this is when like Uber was like newer. So it's less baller than it would be now where this costs like $1,000. But I got like an Uber Black.
Right.
Went and bought like a bottle of vodka and like some flowers and weed, and we just like took the car to Malibu from Hollywood.
Okay.
And I just paid the driver to sit there for like 4 hours while we like just drank and watched like waves crash, and then drove back. Now girls hear that as like, dang, that's romantic. I hear that as like, I'll never spend that again for one day, ever again, ever again. That's a rich guy move. Meet me at the ramen shop and we'll see if this works.
And now you're like, we are getting the bottle of vodka still, it's pop-off. We are getting flowers. There's a Trader Joe's by my house. We are taking an Uber, but it is a pool. It will take a while. So
we're not going to fit well.
Overnight.
Yeah.
I think the rich guy thing that you just sort of just jumped over was meeting a playmate. Where do you meet a playmate?
I mean, you live in L.A. You probably met like 100. You just didn't realize they were
Rod,
also
I
serving
hang
your
out at
coffee.
the bungalow, okay? There's no music. I don't meet playmates.
Playmates don't even go to the bungalow. Like, first of all, Playmates is like an old, like, there's like an easy way to just classify like someone just being hot in like 2012. Again, like, I don't even think that like carries any weight anymore. But that said,
okay.
Yes, all the hottest people in L.A. are literally everywhere. Just go to like a restaurant and get food, and your server probably has like 1 million followers or has been in like. That's kind of the misconception of like really hot people. Like they're like very intimidating, but in LA they're still just broke people, and they're trying to use that heat to make some money, hopefully.
Okay, well, 100%. Rod, I'm in a long-term relationship, so this is advice I could have used
too late.
2 years ago.
Too late, brother.
So you couldn't have written your book 2 years ago?
Hear that new? You might not work out. It's fine.
No, hey, she's just in the next room.
She's right there.
Honey, everything's fine. Don't come out. JD, before we move on, is the noise complaint thing? Is it a different game once you have children, which you do sleeping? Because I feel like that would be very frustrating if you've just gotten them to sleep. You're about to get your 1 hour of relaxation in the day, and then party next door, waking the kids up.
Yeah, I've never, ever have I complained about somebody else's noise.
Okay.
I feel like it's a credit to me, right? If I'm sitting through your party, you're going to have to sit through mine. And when you have 2 kids are fucking loud. They are loud and obnoxious, and they scream in the backyard or whatever. And, so when they come at me about my kids, I can say, well, last Saturday night, 4 a.m., just saying. So
that is true.
Yeah,
Kids
that's
are
my
really
philosophy.
Underratedly noisy.
Oh,
because it's the pitter patter, which is a very annoying sound.
Yeah.
As soon as you asked them the question, I was like, parents split on this pretty heavy, but the parents I know who are doper parents, in my opinion, understand that their kids are very loud. The movie, you described the movie like Neighbors, kind of like the plot of Neighbors, where like they have a kid and they walk over like, can you turn it down a little bit? But the point of that movie, what's kind of overlooked, is they have like a newborn who really is just like sitting there. If that kid was like 6, they'd be causing equally, if they had a 6 and a 10-year-old, those kids would be causing a lot of havoc too, and it'd probably be more of a trade-off.
Yeah.
Well, congrats, JD. Rod just officially named you a dope parent. Which
thank you, Rod. I appreciate that.
I tell him all the time, Rod, you're such a dope parent, and he doesn't listen to me. But coming from you, it means more. So we do appreciate that. We poll people before the show, Rod, and 67% of people said confronting noisy neighbors is good. And I mean, look, I don't know. I don't do it, but that's just because I'm a pussy, not because I don't want to. So that's where I stand on that.
But I've read about this. There's like socioeconomic factors behind this. Like the more money you have, the more you want it to be quiet. So all I hear is that you have a listener base that is of a certain education and salary level. Boom.
Oh, fascinating.
Okay, interesting. You hear that, listeners? You're all rich. Everyone's listening to this on a yacht right now. All right, Rod, it's time for the Is This Good segment where, unfortunately, everything's bad. It's time to pick your poison. So here's how this works. I'm going to give you some related options. They're all bad, and you have to pick your poison. So whichever you think is the least worst option. So today's category is places to be heckled, okay? All related to you. So pick your poison. Places to be heckled during a basketball game, during a comedy show, during a book reading. So why don't you start by saying which is the worst one of these? Which one of these would you definitely not want to be heckled at?
I mean, I think most people, if you polled this, would have the same answers I would. But a book reading? It's just you and silence, and one guy's like, "Boo!" It's like Happy Gilmore, where they go, "Yeah, jackass!" Like one guy can really turn a room if it's a book reading.
Poor sentence structure.
Who's the protagonist, bitch?
So wait, have you done any book readings as part of this release?
My first one is Sunday, actually, as part of this March Madness thing in Hollywood. So hopefully there's no
wait.
hecklers.
So let's. Oh no, this is coming out on Monday. Okay, well you tell me because I'll be here. Where are you doing that on Sunday?
At Hollywood Burger, like right on Hollywood and Vine at the W.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Now that I know that, everyone else, it's too late for you. Okay, so book reading, you definitely don't want it. You're right because it's quiet, and really, what are you gonna say? Now, I guess I have to ask: have you been heckled in a basketball game?
Yeah, like 1,000 times over. There's no one who has less power over you than like a heckler at a basketball game. Like, I mean, I guess like maybe for rookies or something, but at a certain point, it's just noise. Like I played games where they like threw empanadas and like hit us and stuff, and like did throat slashes and like we're gonna kill you. It's like someone just being like, "Oh man, you're bad." It's like, okay. I was on Yahoo during the blog era. Like someone telling me I'm bad is nothing. Those comments were wild.
Oh yeah, okay, good question. What's worse, internet commenters or like heckling you in internet comments or heckling at a basketball game?
Anything that has to be read and like you have to read and process yourself is going to be worse. Because I can kind of tone like, "Hey Rod, you suck at whatever." "Hey Rod, you suck at everything." "Oh, I read that whole sentence." Okay. Well, I don't believe you, so.
Wait. Also, not to let this pass by. Why were they throwing empanadas? Were you in Spain or?
I was in the Dominican Republic, and the arena was just rowdy. The power was going out. It was bottles. It was whatever people could throw, honestly, for multiple games of a very rowdy 7-game series. If anything, I think that was after Beijing. That was one of the greatest, some of the most fun games I ever played. Like it was a little scary, but I was balling, and everything was just wild. Like power goes out. Empanadas, bottles, people screaming, gunshots outside, and it was all just hype. It was like the safest way to be like an absolute riot.
Wow.
It's like classically in cartoons or whatever, when people don't like someone on stage, they throw like a tomato or rotten fruit. But I think you really have to hate someone to throw a delicious meat-filled pastry at them because that's delicious and I would like to eat it.
I mean, tell that to the Phillies who just canceled Dollar Hot Dog Night, right? Like people, if you put some in someone's hands and you upset them, they're letting it go.
It's true. Also, an empanada has some weight and some density to it. That thing could you could probably make it from the 300 level down to the court with that.
Man.
Well, I read during the book that you had, didn't you have an incident with someone blowing a vuvuzela directly in your ear?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I guess, I didn't really elaborate on that in the book. I just said it. You pick up on the details, sir. You pick up on the details. I like you. That's my other
Well, Rod,
tag.
I gotta be honest. I haven't read the book. I just read the excerpts you put on the internet, so it was easier for me.
To answer your question, yes. I was in France. I was not playing because the coach really didn't. This is Europeans were doing this 3-and-D type, put everyone, space everybody out stuff earlier. So when I went over there with a mid-range game, they just didn't play me. So we play these big French league games, and I just sit right at the end of the bench. Like, sometimes I wouldn't even really warm up. I'm like, I'm really not going to play. So that's the mindset, like, which is also a shitty mindset to be in as a basketball player, because, like, if you look at the end of most NBA benches, like, someone does a big dunk, there's, like, two guys who are like, because they're upset that they have to still be here and not play. So that's me every game. I'm sitting here upset just like that. And, like, as soon as the, like, tip, like, boop, this woman just whips. It's like she was hiding it or something, like a secret. Just whips out this, like, yardstick of a vuvuzela and just points it at the court, but I'm at the end of the bench. So there's no angle that's not my right ear.
Oh, my God.
And it's just like, bah! Until, like, eventually I look at her, I'm like, and she looks at me like,
Don't do it. Oh!
She knew she had all the power in the situation. And I'm like, that, you know what? That's worse than the book reading. That's worse than the comedy, and that's the worst form of heckling. A straight vuvuzela to the ear.
Okay, well, so then like that leaves comedy. So I guess you're saying basketball is the least worst option because you're used to it. People are just screaming shit. You can't even necessarily tell who it's coming from. What about has ever happened at a comedy show?
Not to me. You got to also keep in mind basketball people aren't that creative. And so the reason why I said not to me is because I've been to a lot of other comedy. Like improv, people don't usually heckle because it's I think they understand the format is just like, we're trying. But stand-ups, a lot of my friends are stand-ups, including Leonard Smith Jr. I'm going to plug him right now. He's got a special coming out called Love a Deal. But I've been to his shows and seen all sorts of people get heckled, and I'm like, in ways where I'm like, this is crazy. Like the whole Laugh Factory, I think, because they want clips for TikTok. It's just like a heckle fest. It's like Matt Rife.
Yeah.
Every comedian that goes up there, 3 words in, someone's like, well, what if I did coke instead? And then like, and now they're all yelling at each other. I'm like, no one's paying to watch this. I think they're paying just to like see if they can heckle good.
Right.
Well, I think some people believe that comedy is a two-way street. It's a dialogue, when it's very much not. And I do kind of fear that the proliferation of those kind of videos online, which people put online because it's not their material, so they don't mind burning it by posting it, is that people are watching it going like, oh, this is how I'm supposed to behave. If I have a funny thought, it's augmenting the experience for everyone to share my funny thought. And turns out it's not. I've heard many heckles and never thought one added to the experience, but that's just me. All right, so the answer is a basketball game. So, hey, listeners, when you get off your yacht, buy a ticket for an NBA game and just yell at people. They don't mind.
And Blake, that's a callback.
A lot of NBA players will go. That's a callback, but they'll go in a post-game interview and say, the fans were really out of line tonight. We're people too. And Rod Benson is here to tell you they're not real people. Okay, it's fine.
I had to say it was a callback. I had to because that stand-up. Listen to what he said. He said he's been heckled a lot, and then he had a callback. If you haven't done stand-up, you don't know either of those two things. You just don't. I'm gonna keep giving guys like you credit, where people are like, "I'm just funny."
I invented both those things. It's crazy. All right, let's get to a segment we call Unpopular Opinions. So, Rod, in this section, I find unpopular opinions that people are saying on the internet, and then I ask you, and you tell me if you agree with them or not. And this one is inspired by JD, who just went on vacation. I don't know if you could tell, but he's got a heck of a tan behind those dark frames.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So here's the unpopular opinion. Beach vacations are the worst. So this person wrote in the comment, of all the places to spend a week or two, why would you choose the beach? Hot, gritty, boring, expensive, full of the worst kind of tourists. Beaches are interesting for an hour or two tops. Then what? Sit there, stare at the sky? Build a sandcastle, get drunk and sunburned? I can sit and read in my apartment or a local park. I cannot imagine wasting a vacation sitting on a beach and doing very little except being uncomfortable. Rod, what do you think of this unpopular opinion? Are you a beach boy?
So I'm from the beach, like LA, and then like actually like Cardiff by the sea, San Diego. Like I grew up like seeing the water, and that's a bar. That is a bar. Whoever that is if her name is Karen, I think it's a Karen. Congrats, you're the first Karen I've agreed with in so long.
Wow.
The beach is overrated. It is sold. It's like this idea that's sold as like perfection. So that like I think just for real estate purposes, honestly, I'm not saying it's not great, but it's extraordinarily dirty, sandy. That person's right. Like the less you have inside, probably the more you like the beach. Just like fill me with nature because I'm an empty vessel. Like that's totally fine. If you have any personality, why the hell would you want to just sit on the beach? I can understand wanting to do nothing or doing relaxing things. I say this all the time. I'd much rather take a vacation to a mountain. Like if I could go spend a week at a cabin and like snowboard and stuff like that, I'd rather do that than a week on a beach because it's gonna get like we're just gonna keep eating expensive dinners with the view. It's gonna cost 10x more, and I'm gonna do not that many things.
Okay, so you're agreeing with this. I mean, you also did just tell a story about going to the beach with a model, which you seem to enjoy. But I guess that was only for an hour or two.
What did I say? The emptier you are, the more you like that stuff. It wasn't for me.
So what you weren't saying is I fucking hate the beach, but I knew this chick would like it, so that's where we ended up.
Hands were tied, midnight. It's all I could do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, JD, you were just at the beach. What?
I was.
Can you say something nice about it?
I will. Well, listen, Rod, you're from the beach, like you say. I mean, I grew up in Toronto. It's on a lake, a shitty lake. It's a great lake, but it's not that great.
There is a beach in Toronto.
There is a beach, but it's not an ocean. And that's the one thing that the email writer left out as well. They didn't mention the ocean, and that is the real draw for me. And if you like, surfing and swimming and being in the water, it's great. Now I will say I spent 6 full days at the beach. I did not go in the water once. And I think I only there might have been crocodiles in there.
Oh yeah, Rod. Sorry, we did talked about this on the last show when JD came back from vacation. I don't know if you know this, but crocodiles are now in the ocean.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Was this in Florida, or is this like in like Tiburon? Where was this?
Mexico.
East or west Mexico?
Part of Vallarta.
East Mexico.
So,
okay, good. We're safe over here. Just making sure I can still go to my waters and not see crocodiles.
You're good.
That's wild.
Yeah. I mean, the hot, gritty, overrated, all great points in my opinion. But it's the ocean. There's something about it. Like it's from whence we came. Well,
I like that because you say the ocean. Like the writer wrote about the beach. And I do agree that there's a difference. I went to Todos Santos, Mexico, and did like this hike with a shaman that led us to the water, and like it was like incredibly meditative and seeing like the current push out. Like that's an entirely different thing than we're going to Santa Monica Beach today. Pack up the car.
Right.
We're going to go vacation
Rod,
in Malibu.
How did the beach look on ayahuasca?
It looked the same as sober because that's what I was.
So the shaman wasn't taking you through any past lives or anything like that.
No, this was I guess that might have been an option. I just didn't even consider it. I think I was probably on shrooms though. Still, this is at 5 a.m.
Oh, okay. Well, right, yeah.
Like what I mean is, I went to bed on shrooms. So
ayahuasca? No, I don't think.
I probably woke up still shrooming a little bit, but it was 5 a.m. So I'm like, I'm not gonna go do a whole bunch of drugs to like not see the mountain and fall and kill myself.
Yeah, right. Fair enough.
Okay, one thing I'll say is definitively bad is going to the beach when you're not staying at the beach. Like, let's say I go to visit my parents in, near West Palm, and then we got to drive 35, 40 minutes to get to the beach, and we're like packing the folding chairs and the towels and the paddles with the tiny rubber ball. And that is a nightmare, finding a parking spot, dragging all that shit down, packing it up. But if you're staying at the beach, like, if, I don't know, some kind of resort or something, I don't know. When this guy was saying, what am I supposed to do? Build a sandcastle, sit there, stare at the sky, get drunk?
Those all sound fun.
I was reading it being like, yeah, I kind of would like to do all those things right now.
Well, I also think he's like describing like a very like destination-y like vacation, right? Like I could see you could go to somewhere in the Philippines, I don't know, and potentially have like half your vacation experience be beachside, but the rest of it being on rickshaws and going through the jungle and seeing different bars and trying different foods and stuff like that. Like to me, that's like a full vacation. If your vacation plan is, I'm going to sit on this beach for 8 days, not only are you going to pay more, you're going to come back the same person. So you're going to like immediately be mad when you go back to work because you haven't fulfilled anything. You just got the pictures. For a lot of people.
Sorry, the same person, Rod? How come the last time I went to the beach, I came back with cornrows? So I wasn't the same person.
You went to Jamaica? Why'd you go there for your beach trip?
Because I really wanted cornrows, man. Come on. It's the only place you can get them. All right, next unpopular opinion. We're sticking with traveling here. I think we can dispense with this one quickly because this was an insane opinion. Layovers are good. So this person said, when I'm flying, I prefer layovers, ideally in the 3 to 5 hour range. I can't afford to fly anything better than economy, and it's nice to be able to stretch my legs, breathe, and have a good meal in between the hell that is economy seats. I mean, I read this, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? Like, put me in the overhead compartment and direct, over waiting 3 hours in the airport. But I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, Rod. I know you've been on many a plane. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I feel like I always have like weird opinions that people don't see coming, but nowadays I could not disagree with this person more. But when I was in the D League, give me some layovers, bro. We would be on these tiny planes, like one row each, especially living in North Dakota because they didn't have big commuter 737s and stuff. Our legs would be like interlaced like a French braid down the middle of the aisle. No service on this flight. People are mad at us.
Hey, that's how you build team chemistry.
Bruh, that stop off in Denver, but also like even our options to eat in Bismarck might be more limited than where we're coming from. So like, if you're flying from, Austin, maybe the layover in Minneapolis is kind of fun. We see the Mall of America for a minute. We're actually experiencing a bit of life. But nowadays, hell no. Get me there as fast as possible, and also don't put me on a plane with 20 other 7-footers, and I'll be fine.
Right.
Yeah, well, see, you bring up a good point, because I always hear like people are like, oh, I got this long layover, so I'm going to go into this, like I'm going to leave the airport. And to me, it's like how I feel like if you have to work a night shift. Yeah, you technically have the whole day, but the whole day you're just going like, fuck, do I have time? I can go there. I can go to the beach, but do I have time to make it back? Mm-hmm. Traffic's always worse coming east, Rod. You know that. So then I'm just worried the whole day that I'm going to miss the thing, or I'm stressed out and I'm not living in the moment. I've never really understood people that leave the airport and then are willing to come back, go through fucking security again. I don't know. It just seems like a huge hassle. But JD, you're disagreeing with this one as well?
I am disagreeing with it, but I will defend the airport hang. I like hanging out in the airport, like I like to show up early, and I love a few pops, beers, whatever, just sitting in a bar like a shitty
TGI
Bubba
Fridays.
Gumps or a TGI Fridays. I love the cheesiness of it. There's an anything goes sort of feel for like what I'm going to eat. It's the Trey Kirby rules. Anything goes. You can have whatever you want. I like going to Harsfield and hitting the Verisanos. Like I've drank half a bottle of wine and ate a pizza and then got on a plane. You know what I mean? Like, and it's also that you're in the excitement of the trip. Whether it's a work trip or whether it's whatever.
Doesn't apply here.
Well, I would. I mean,
I guess,
could.
Yeah,
it could be argued that it's sort of like a little break, right?
Yeah, but how much do you need your balls tickled? Like it's like, we're still getting there, but we're not there yet. I mean, I don't want to edge my flight.
First of all, I'm going directly to that Brookstone, and I'm edging the shit out of myself until that flight. What are you talking about? If you like,
I'm sitting in the massage chair.
I will say this though. Also, this is another rich guy thing. The more when you're like in whatever rich guy zone, flying is awesome because like a lot of it is just like another restaurant or another like conversation with like other people who are excited to go somewhere. Like it can be fun. But again, when you are a rich guy, you want to get there fast. So you wouldn't do a lot of that, but you'll sit in that lounge. If I'm flying to Europe, and I might take the option to like connect through a nice lounge if I know it's like going to be comparable.
There you go.
Okay, well, so fine. You're kind of agreeing with this. It almost makes me want to ask you, and I never ask people this because normally I bring the unpopular opinions. do you have any unpopular opinions about basketball or otherwise? I feel like, I mean, if you don't, I know I'm putting you on the spot, but if you do.
No, I have unpopular opinions about everything. But it's also because I've just seen so much. It's like, there's no, like, the reason why I'm always going to kind of find the middle is because there is no, like, things aren't black and white. I don't know. But unpopular opinion about basketball, number one, it's cooked. NBA is cooked. It's just cooked. Okay. It's not fun to watch. I don't like putting it on. And it's just like a cash grab for like every betting site. Like, maybe this is sponsored by one I don't want to hate, but it's like there's not a black commentator who doesn't have DraftKings next to their face on their podcast. Right. And I'm like, this is killing. Like, I'm glad it's starting to become a conversation. But I played in a lot of countries where like coaches, referees, players all went to jail for betting. Like, this is an inevitable thing coming, and the pursuit of money is cooking the NBA in a way that I just don't prefer.
Well, Rod, now would be a great time to tell us about all the NBA referees that are on the payroll of the mob. So we'll just leave space here for you to go through that.
Just print them on the screen.
Also, go to DraftKings.com, code ITG20 for 20% off a parlay. You're going to want to make a parlay because the more you bet, the more chance you will have to lose. So that's no, we're not sponsored, but fingers crossed, maybe one day. All right, Rod, there's only one thing left to do, and that's play subjective trivia. So subjective trivia is just like regular trivia, except only I know the answer. So here's the lead into this question. According to the 2023-24 MVP tracker on Basketball Reference, the top 5 players most likely to win the award are Nikola Jokic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka Doncic, and Jason Tatum. So the question is, which of these players would be the best at improv? Now, I have my answer here. Again, your choices are Jokic, Shai, Giannis, Luka, Tatum. Jokic, Shai, Giannis, Luka, Tatum. We're trying to get our answers to match up. Which of these MVP candidates do you think would be the best at improv? Feel free to talk it out with JD.
Yeah. Well, can I ask you questions? Because I want to try and I want to like match you, right? Can I ask you anything or no?
Okay. Yeah, of course.
Which of those favorite players do you think is the best at basketball?
I'm only laughing because what the fuck does my opinion matter? But give me Jokic.
Okay.
To actually win the MVP this year.
Okay. Which one is your favorite to watch play?
Oh, Jokic for sure.
Well, I'm gonna say that you probably went with Jokic. It feels like I don't personally.
I mean, why? Why does that? Why does his prowess on the court?
Because you enjoy watching him play. That's an important factor. Like I think I do think Jokic could be good at improv. Like he does a lot of like weird. He'd be physically like physical comedy a god. But like you actually don't really enjoy watching players that like people that can't translate. I just found. I don't know. There's something about it. If you said like if your answer is like I hate watching Giannis like play, but I want to see him do improv, to me that wouldn't line up.
Right.
See, that's interesting. But like for instance, I love Shai. I like watching him play. He's Canadian, so I'm a big backer. I like the excitement of a young team and maybe making a deep run in the playoffs, but I've seen him interviewed, and I don't think he is.
No. Think about it like a square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is not a square. Like you need to be at least watchable to be good at improv. I don't think Gilgeous-Alexander is good at improv, but I think like the people who are the most watchable, like I love watching this guy, are the people who have a higher starting bar than other players.
Okay, well, it is interesting because Jokic, obviously, an incredible passer. Like not out for himself, likes to get everyone involved. These are the hallmarks of a good improviser. Yeah. But what about like generally vaguely knowing these people as personalities?
I would go Giannis. I think Giannis would be so fun to see do improv. For one, just his like length and size. I think his like the way he answers questions like really honestly. Like the thing what people don't get about improv is it's not stand up. You're not writing jokes. It's more like the more authentically you can like respond. In the moment, the funnier it is. And I could just see Giannis being like, meatballs, and the whole room being like, no, he didn't. He didn't.
Okay, interesting. So what are you giving as your answer?
My official answer is Giannis is who I think would be the best, but I thought you would pick Jokic.
Okay, Honestly, you played this game so well because my answer is Jokic, and the goal of the game is to guess my answer. Giannis was my second choice, and I thought about it, and let me tell you why I don't think Giannis would be good at it. I agree, he is funny, he's very, congenial, jovial, got a big personality, but he's too kooky. I think you'd start the scene. Rod, you go out there, you're starting with your object work, you're churning butter, and he'd come in and be like, I'm an alien, and we're all
everyone would laugh. Normally, I would hate that. If I was in a scene with you and I was built, we had this whole scene at Burger King and it was all funny, and you came in like, I'm a ghost. I'd be like, that's dumb. If Giannis just popped up like, I am a ghost, it would kill.
Yeah, but Jokic.
But that's
could
not
do the
good
same
improv,
thing.
though. It's not good improv.
I agree. It would be funny still, but I think you're gonna get that with Jokic. You're gonna get non sequiturs from him.
Yeah,
but I also think he's just a more grounded player, improv player. I mean, not NBA player.
Jokic would be good. Like if they both learn the craft, I think they just both have different strengths. I think if they both learned it to a T, Giannis has a higher ceiling, just like basketball. He's got more natural gifts in this space, I think.
Okay, you heard it here first. That's the scouting report. We got Fran Fraschilla, the improv Fran Fraschilla here. He's got Jokic now, but Giannis is maybe 2 years away from being the best improviser. And both would unfortunately supplant you as LA's tallest improviser, unfortunately. But
unless they lying. I don't know. You never know. A lot of people be lying about their heights, dog. I'm like true 6'10", and when I played, everyone's like, no, you like 7 feet, dog, because I'm 6'9". I'm like, I can see the top of your head, bro. You lying.
Okay, it's interesting you say that because I just, for shits and giggles, Googled like tallest comedian, and there's a guy who calls himself the world's tallest comedian, but he's only 6'9". So,
wow.
Well, Blake Griffin's got him beat. Boom, roasted. And that's a callback. And that's a callback.
And that's when you're supposed to do a callback at the end of the show, really. So, Rod, where can people find you? Plug the book and plug your improv team, because I want to come see you.
Man, thank you. The book is called Different Dude. You can get it anywhere you get books online or at differentdude.com. That is more direct to me. You can also listen to it for free on Spotify or pay other places if you do so choose. My improv team is called Lemon Pepper Wet, like the wings on purpose. We are 6 black men who are extraordinarily funny, I think. We got some Giannis's and some Jokic's on the team. And we perform at UCB. Our next show is, Monday. So you will hear this. Monday night at UCB. We'll be in the cage match.
Sweet.
We go head-to-head with another team, and the audience votes who they think is funniest. We're on a 4-win streak. We are undefeated.
Shit.
So if you win, you get to stay you get to come back the next week, kind of thing.
It's like every other week. So yeah, we've been up for 2 months. We got a good team. We're like Boston. We're really rated highly. We have a good shot to make it through the bracket.
Okay.
And lastly, you can find me personally at ZSORRYON. That's my handle for everything, but it's my middle name also, Gerion.
Okay.
Gerion.
There we go. I'll see you all on Monday. Remember to check out the show on patreon.com/isthisgood. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And send me emails at isthisgoodpod@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Thanks to JD. Thanks so much to Rod for coming on. Thanks in advance for leaving a 5-star review for everyone. I'm Matt Austin, and this was good. We'll see you next week.